Hey everybody, it's the Nitty Professor. Today we're going to condition a pair of boots, and I'm going to use a product that I have not used before. So just a tiny bit of background. This is a product that I've used a fair amount. Smith's Leather Balm. This is made in Maine. One of the main ingredients is organic beeswax. It also has cocoa butter and 100% pure sweet almond oil. It's really nice. However, I'm getting low. Not that I condition my boots as regularly as I should, because I don't have a lot of time, but I try to take care of them. So the boots that we are interested in today are my Trumans. These are the 79 last. I have never had the 20. My son has a pair. This is the, it'll come to me. It's from Seidel Tannery. And it's their Roughout, the Dark Coyote, which is touted to be a military-grade, weather-resistant Roughout leather. So, as you all know, Roughout leather is basically the hide turned backwards. It's not like a suede that's split and fragile and needs to be lined. This is a heavy-duty leather, and you can probably make out on the inside if the camera adjusts that we've got the smooth leather in there. There might be some sweat in there. I did a whole video on that last week. It was fun. But they were waterproof. We're doing really well for several months. This is the first winter that these have gone through. I got them last year. In fact, I've probably had them about a year. Probably see a little wear in the bottom. This is the Truman Eugene regrind sole. The laces have taken a bit of beating. These soles, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think they'll last me. I'll never have to have these resoled. So in any case, after a while, so towards the end of the winter, they were taken on water. Now, I know I've addressed this before. There's a raging debate over whether or not Roughout leather should be conditioned the same as smooth leather. Now, one school of thinking is to keep the nap, the aesthetic, and arguably this is a debate I'm just having with a one of my wonderful subscribers that agreed to which it's functional to have that raised nap on there. The recommendation is to use like a silicone spray. So there's not a whole lot that's natural about a silicone spray, and I don't know what else goes into the air when I'm spraying those cans. I don't know. And how much protection does it really? It's like a chemical film. I don't know. I would much rather put beeswax on these than silicone spray. And there are sites, for example, Bakers and Whites, that actually recommend that you should treat a Roughout leather just the same as a smooth leather. Because guess what? It's the same. I've even seen somebody say you should condition it from the inside out. So I suppose that'd be an option. But I'm going to boldly do what I did on my Hawthorne mule skinners from Red Wing at one point. I also did this to my Truman oil tanned Roughout boots. I'm just going to condition them on the outside. So the product I'm going to use, this is Herman Survivor's Beeswax Leather Protector. Now, I don't have a list of ingredients on here like I do on the Smiths. I think Smiths is a little bit more, shall we say, candid about what you're dealing with. But I'm just going to read what's on here and I'll show it to you. Beeswax Leather Protector. Herman Survivor's Beeswax Leather Protector conditions and protects leather against the tougher elements. The tougher elements, not toughest. Not like the rain and wind we've had the past week, but tougher. This heavy-duty formula preserves leather, restoring its natural feel and shine. Not quite. In any case, without over-softening, naturally resistant to dry, rot, and mildew, and is ideal for leather boots. Well, these are definitely leather, even if they're not going to shine. Now, one recommendation I have on here, it says for best results, apply 2 or 3 thin coats. Maybe. I don't know how much time I have, right? Yeah, time's money. I was just debating that with my knitting viewers the other day. So, in any case, here's the part you're not going to like. Okay, so where did I find this? Walmart. Why did I buy this? Well, curiosity. You know how it is. Curiosity kills cat. To use a metaphor that's very pertinent to this household. So One reason is because I'm flat out running out. I do want some beeswax, and I could order it online. I could go to Amazon, right? It's like, which evil corporate giant are you going to shop from? Walmart or Amazon? Well, this was on my way from the cat litter aisle to the organic milk aisle, and I just saw it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a trial run. So that's what we're about here, is to try it. I haven't even opened this. And just to give you an idea of, so we're going to already be a little suspect about the quality here. That container's broken. I just noticed that. I was like, is that a special opening feature? No, it's like, it's cracked. But in any case, let's just open it up, see what we got. Oh, it's sealed for my protection. Now, I'm already breaking a rule that it says on the container, because it says, ensure the leather's clean. I did that. I brushed these babies, and I kind of wiped them down with a towel. Apply using a clean cloth. I'm going to use my hands. So if I have a toxic allergic reaction while I'm making this video, you'll know it. In any case, because again, we don't know what's in here besides beeswax, but let's find out. So here we go. It looks harmless enough. And to its credit, it is made in the USA. See, it says right there, made in the USA. Where in the USA? We don't know. We don't know by whom. It doesn't really have a smell. Now, let's be fair. My smeller isn't as good as it was 40 years ago, but it's extremely neutral in its smell. So it doesn't smell like a silicone spray. This makes me happy. All right, so it's a little bit stiff. I'm just going to kind of work it down there a little bit. Actually, it feels all right. It's got to be mixed with some kind of oil. So let's see what happens. Let me get this one out of the way. I'm just going to do one of them here. I'm not going to use up too much of your time. I'm just going to start rubbing it in. It says use a thin coat, so that's great. Will it darken the leather? I expect it to, even after it dries. And do I care? No, because what I'm worried about is the leather being happy. I don't have to look at light brown versus dark brown leather when I'm using these boots out in the slush. That's not the point. The point is I want them to protect my feet. I want them to be comfortable, and I want the leather to be supple. And whether or not it has a nap is sort of immaterial. I'm also going to do the edge dressing, because this edge dressing has taken a beating from, I don't even know if there's dressing on here. I call it dressing. Let's just call it the edge, the welt edge. It's going to get some beeswax, some Herman Survivor beeswax as well, because, you know, it needs to be happy too. And it's pretty beat up. I mean, you can see, just look how beat up that edge is, you know. That's not good, right? In fact, if these had a leather sole, I would probably put it on there. I always like to condition the leather soles on my 1,000 miles. It's going on pretty good so far. You could tell already. It's really dark. Now, I learned something as I was researching what I was doing here. It's like beeswax, right? I even asked AI, I asked Whites, I asked Gemini, I asked the internet. I looked at some Reddit posts. I looked at quite a variety of information. Where should you use beeswax? And of course, AI was like, oh, you don't want to use beeswax on Roughout. Oh, no, that's terrible. I'm just breaking the AI rules here. I'm just, you know, dabbing this up kind of like, you know, if it was like petroleum jelly or something like that. So far, my skin isn't breaking out, so I deem that a win. Yeah, it's kind of fun to work in. It works in really good. So far, kind of having fun with this. I'll try to give you some visuals on what's going on. I'm just watching it myself. I'm so mesmerized by the action of my hands digging into this sloppy stuff. This is like when you're little and you're finger painting, right? Do you remember what it was like? I still have some of my finger paintings from when I was in 5th grade in Mr. Mandarino's class. This is just crazy. I don't know. What are my kids going to do with that stuff, right? I should just chuck it. But I don't know. This is fun. I recommend this. We talk a lot about meditative stuff on my channel here. Knitting, spinning, boot conditioning falls right into that category. You know, we talk about mending, right? Taking care of the things that you wear and the things that you use. Taking care of the things that protect us. It's satisfying. This is kind of a nice, I like this. I hope you're enjoying it too. You might have tuned out by now, but if you're still sticking with me, kudos. Really appreciate it. Love all my subscribers. I love the engagement. really getting some good conversations going. I've seen some of my comments and they've got like 50 likes, and I'm like, man, y'all are really, you're just watching what each other has to contribute and making your own contributions. I'm sure there are a lot of people sitting on the sidelines and they're kind of taking that in, and that's just wonderful. So I'm probably the only channel that combines conditioning boots with Walmart beeswax with spinning wool from Georgia. So you know, it's all about the authenticity. So here we're going to go into the tongue. You can see my tongue has also taken a bit of a beating. I had to really get the dust out of that baby. So I'm just going to the extent that we'll consider this a review. I am liking the feel of this product. Now, what I don't know is how well is it going to last. Like, am I going to feel like I have to do this again after a month? Of course, I'm not going to wear these boots quite as much over the summer because I don't really want to get them muddy. That's going to be a lot harder to get out than salt from the snow. But I'll try to follow up. Once this is dried, I'll probably let it dry overnight. I'm going to brush these babies. The brush I used, I think I have it out here. I had it out somewhere. I'm not sure where I put it. I actually used an old nail brush. Well, I must have put it aside, but somebody was like, don't use wire. And of course, horsehair isn't going to do a whole lot. But do you remember those old brushes you used to scrub out your fingernails? I remember that when I was little. That is what I used to brush off the nap on these babies before I subjected them to this treatment. So obviously there's a big difference now, right? Between the look. So it's almost like it's a different boot. It's kind of crazy. Now I'm going to go on record as claiming that when my son put Obenoffs on his nicks were a combination of smooth and Roughout leather, and he used Obenoffs on them. I don't know, he might have done it like every 6 weeks. He was like really religious, and he was good at slathering it. If you're listening, Culver, I've learned from you. That's great. So Obenoffs is beeswax primarily. I almost feel like this is trying to be a cheap version of the Obenoffs. Could be, right? And maybe at some point, I've been neglectful. I have not gotten Obenoffs yet. I would probably end up ordering it on Amazon. And I try to keep those purchases to a minimum, you know. To me, I feel like the best I can do is moderation. I try to do some boycotting, but I do use Amazon from time to time. There might be better places to get Obenoffs. If you have a recommendation, I would accept it. Let me know. Maybe I should buy it from Nix directly. In any case, I would be willing to bet that if I had put Obenoffs on these boots, that the difference in appearance would be the same. Or very comparable. So you can see darkening, absolutely. And now it just looks like smooth leather. But I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to brush it. I'm about to do the other boot here. And we'll see what happens. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Have any of you tried this product? If so, what's your experience been? Am I going to have to just do this again after 6 weeks? Or is this going to hold up pretty well and save me a few bucks? I am glad that it's made in the U.S. That gives me some kind of confidence that it's not, you know, made in a horrible, environmentally terrible factory that I can't see far, far away by people who are underpaid. So I am glad to know that it is made in the United States. As far as the feel of putting this on, I like it. It went on the leather really nice. So we'll see what the results are. And again, if you have any experience, please share it. So on that note, I'm going to sign off and come back at you in a few days and let you know what it looks like after it's been dried and brushed. Y'all take care. Bye.